Hi everyone, it's the Musical Lewis here, a channel dedicated to all good music based on my good music taste, and today I'm looking at this new album here from Hilary Duff called Look or Something, released only a few weeks ago, in 2026. I know it's been a while since I've last done a review, but the problem is I've been so busy throughout the last few weeks and haven't really had the motivation to make any new videos, so I decided to do another review for this new album from Hilary Duff, um, Look or Something. Um, and I'm going to say in this review that I actually really did enjoy this album. I'm going to show you the back. There's 11 tracks on this album. There's Weather for Tennis, Roommates, We Don't Talk, Future Tripping, Growing Up, The Optimist, You from the Honeymoon, Holiday Party, Mature, Tell Me That Won't Happen, and Adult Size Medium. So it's an 11-track album and the first Hilary Duff album in 11 years since Breathe In, Breathe Out. As well as the CD, I also have the vinyl of the album, which I do have over here. The translucent orange vinyl, sorry. I nearly said pink then. I just picked this up today actually, and I decided to have it on vinyl as well as the CD. I haven't listened to the vinyl yet, so I don't know exactly what I'm expecting, but I'm possibly going to be expecting the same amount of albums here, so I'm just going to put that over there. I'll put that away in a second. But with that said, though, I'm gonna open up the album for a second. We have the CD there, and there's her on the back there with the booklet, and the booklet does have the lyrics in, by the way. So it's an interesting album. This. Oops, sorry. The thing is, when I first bought this album, I wasn't overly sure what to expect from it because I didn't really listen to any of. I'm sorry, I haven't really listened to any of Hilary Duff's music as a whole. I only knew it from bits and pieces. The thing is, when I first got into this album, I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to expect from it. Because obviously before listening to it, because I knew Hilary Duff from when she was in Lizzie McGuire back in the day, way back in the early 2000s. And obviously I haven't really heard much from her since. I know she's been in quite a few different films and TV series over the years. I mean, The Cinderella Story is one of the things she did after Lizzie McGuire finished, and also she's been in quite a few other bits and pieces during the time when she was only a young actress. So, and also she was also in the biopic of The Haunting of Sharon Tate, which she played Sharon Tate in the film, and obviously, for those who don't know who Sharon Tate was, Sharon Tate was brutally murdered by Charles Manson's family way back in 1969, and that film was a true account of how she was murdered, and it's a really good film actually, but very tragic as well. But with that said, though, let's talk about the album then. I think personally, this album so far is actually my favorite album of the year so far. This year, because considering that I haven't listened to any of Hilary Duff's early work before this album didn't actually interest me to start with, but the more times I've listened to it, this album is actually one of my personal favorites. And considering that I'm a huge fan of rock music more than pop. I think this is definitely one of my favorite albums that I've ever listened to this year. I'm sorry for the glare of the light because I'm actually recording this in the evening. So, um, I think personally, I like this cover, the front cover, but I actually prefer the back cover for the inside of the CD there because I think that's actually one of the nicest album covers I've ever seen. But with that said, though, I actually enjoyed this album. There's quite a few good songs on here. I'm gonna show you the back of this for a moment because considering what this album is, it's not like all the previous albums. You know, it's not like because obviously, if you know Hilary Duff, you'll probably know songs like "So Yesterday," "Come Clean," and that sort of thing. But this album in particular, if you're not really listened to Hilary Duff's early work, you probably will not understand this album a lot. But personally, for me, I actually really enjoyed this. There's some songs on this album that I think, "Future Trippin'" is one of my personal favorites on this album, and obviously, "Weather for Tennis" is obviously a straight song for a single, and also "Mature" is one of my personal favorites too. Um, I think this album actually feels more of a mature, as it says in the title of the song there, no pun intended, but this album is one of the most maturest releases I've actually heard from any pop singer. And obviously, Hilary Duff, obviously most people know her from Lizzie McGuire and that sort of thing, and that's how I know her from. But with that said, though, I don't think there's not really. Well, to be honest, if you've heard this album, I'm not going to spoil it too much for you because I think personally, if you haven't heard it, do give this a listen because I do actually recommend this one. There's so many good songs on here, and I think you need to listen without me explaining them to you. Um, because with that said, it's an interesting release. It's not like any of the other albums that I have heard before. It's it is a pop album, but it's pop in a good way. It's not like any of the overwrite or overproduced crap that a lot of pop music is these days. I think personally, if I if I were going to critique this album, I think personally the critiques for this album are very minimal because I'd just be a bit nitpicky, really. Because obviously, if you've not heard anything from Hilary Duff, for this length of time, I mean, there's probably a lot of people who don't even know that she has made music or only know her from the first couple of records that she had put out, and that's it. Um, but I think personally, this is an album that I actually really do enjoy. Considering that I haven't really listened to her music as a whole, this album actually worked so well for me, and obviously every song on this album is like a personal journey to her and also to me because of what happened to me this past month with certain things going on in my life. So, um, and listening to this album front to back when I first picked this up a couple of weeks ago, I actually really, really did enjoy this album, and I think personally, um, some people would say that this is actually one of her best albums, and I've heard people say that and I say this album with some confidence because I think personally, when you've not made music for so long, it's easy to drop down into the route of nostalgia for a new release. But this one doesn't do it so much, and obviously, for someone who hasn't heard any of Hilary Duff's music as a whole, I think that's actually one of the best ways to describe this because And personally, when you become a new musician or someone who actually loves music, and Hilary Duff is actually one of the artists that actually got me into, because obviously I was never a fan. I did like Lizzie McGuire back in the day, but I never really enjoyed the series as a whole. And this album particularly feels like an album that Lizzie McGuire could have done as an adult, because Hilary Duff is obviously the most represented to her in many ways. And obviously most people will represent this being an older Lizzie McGuire album if Lizzie McGuire was an adult and knew how to make music as well as being part of the TV series. So, and I know for a fact, if this was made in 2005, 2006, whatever, this album this album wouldn't be I don't think it'll be as well received if this was made in 2006, and we're in 2026 now. So um I think personally this album is fantastic. It has everything that's going for in a pop record, and also if you love modern pop music, and also if you love Hilary Duff, I think this album will definitely be picked up for you. Obviously, I'm happy to have the CD, but I also happy to have the vinyl. I mean, having it on vinyl is just as nice as well. So, I'm gonna say Hilary Duff's Luck or Something. I do recommend it. Um, Even if you've not heard any of her early music first, I do recommend picking this up. And actually, if you do enjoy it, recommend you do listen to it. So, um, I think this is one of the best albums I've heard so far this year. And I know I haven't done any more album reviews recently, but I am going to jump back into doing the Bon Jovi reviews again at some point. And also, I'm going to be jumping into albums like this. And also, I promised to do the Cashier Girl All on Red review, which I still haven't done yet. I'm going to do that at some point this week. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like and subscribe. And hopefully there'll be some more album reviews from the Musical Lewis coming up very soon. Goodbye for now.